Good afternoon, everyone. Beautiful day, December in New York. Thank you very much for coming on such an exciting day. My name is Tom Prendergast. I'm the Chairman and CEO of the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. We're going to have a short program today. We're going to have four speakers, myself, followed by Congressman Maloney, Joe Porcaro, a businessman here, and Governor Andrew Cuomo. First, I'd like to acknowledge some people who are here with us and thank them for their support during this project. Congressman Carolyn Maloney, Congressman Charlie Rangel, State Senator Adriano Espaillat, State Senator Liz Krueger, Assembly Member Rebecca Seawright, Assembly Member Keith Wright, City Council Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito, First Deputy Mayor Anthony Shorris, Council Member Dan Gorodnick, Vincent Alvarez, President, New York City Central Labor Council, Mario Salento, President, New York State AFL-CIO, Richard Fitzsimmons, Business Manager, New York City Sandhogs Local 147, Joseph D'Amato, Business Manager, Laborers Local 731, John Samuelson, President, Transport Workers Union Local 100, John Skinner, President, Metallic Laborers Local 46, members of the board, Freddie Farrar, Larry Schwartz, Ira Greenberg, David Jones, Jamie Vitiello, and Veronica Vanderpool, and New York State Iron Workers District Council. First of all, I want to acknowledge the governor. It's his leadership and vision, and let's be honest for all of us who were involved in this, his direct challenge to us to complete this project on time. There's no mistaking what his priorities are when he has a conversation with you, and he made clear to those of us who were involved that this project was going to get done on time. I'd also like to acknowledge MTA agency presidents Dr. Michael Haradnachano and Ronnie Hakam, two incredible leaders who helped make today possible. The 96th Street station on the 2nd Avenue subway is different than any other along the line. The MTA is thrilled to welcome it into our system. It will come as no surprise that it's not easy to build a subway station in probably the most dense part of the United States, where the population density is where it is, and people live truly 24/7. The blocks above us are filled with businesses and homes, and below that is a maze of utilities that are almost impossible to imagine. If you had the benefit to see the construction while it was underway, you saw some of those challenges. And in order to build this station, we needed to embrace those challenges, accept the reality that this would be a difficult task, and find a way to get it done. I promise not to bore you with too many technical details or make jokes about tunnel boring machines, none of which were used in this particular station, thankfully sparing you from all that construction humor that might come with it. I would like to tell you a little bit about some of the challenges in building the station, though. It is truly an engineering marvel, and one that was accomplished with the help of hundreds of workers doing what they did and loved doing what they did. This station is the only one of the 3 stations that were built using what we call a cut-and-cover construction method, which is how the original subway system was built back in the early part of the 20th century. It sounds simple, but I can assure you that it's not. The 2nd Avenue subway team had to relocate countless utilities in the street, then constructing retaining walls on either side of the street so they could hold back those structures while they excavated the dirt and went down to the part where they could actually build the tracks. Then our team installed the temporary concrete road decking so that you could restore traffic upstairs and business could continue, albeit with difficulties because of the construction, but it continued. And that's what we call the cover. It allowed the traffic above the street to keep moving, and we kept working below the street 54 feet where we built the system from the ground up. Today, what you see is the end result of all of that work and all of those thousands of hours. The station is 9 feet short, 1,600 feet long, and 3 feet short of 60 feet wide. When you walk through the turnstiles later, you'll be struck by the defining characteristics that this station has. There's high ceilings, there's column-free designs, and there's an airy feeling, unlike what you see in the majority of the New York City subway system. It certainly will not leave you feeling claustrophobic or closed in. The two-tiered mezzanine is a feature of the 2nd Avenue subway, and you'll see it here in the 96th Street station. The mezzanine is a critical, important element because it improves the flow of riders, makes the platforms less crowded, and the overall subway experience a better one. The mezzanine is also an art gallery. Take a moment to look around you right here in this first part of the station, but throughout the station. It's the stunning artwork of Sarah Z. On Monday, Governor Cuomo introduced us all to the incredible works of art that are gracing this new subway line. There is a work of art at each one of the stations. But in particular here at 96th Street, Sarah's striking blueprint in landscape is an essential part of what defines this station. The blueprint is comprised of 4,300 unique porcelain wall tiles spanning almost 14,000 square feet. You may not consider me an art connoisseur. I'm certainly not one. It is impossible not to be taken back by the images you see around you. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Governor Cuomo again. You relentlessly pushed us to get this project done on time. For someone who has worked in the public sector his entire life, all but 6 years, 42 of 6 years, 6 of 42 years, we're generally risk averse. We generally don't want to take on a challenge. And the governor said it's important to change the perception the public has of the MTA, both not in getting construction work done, but the way in which we impact people in their lives. So it's as important to the people who use the system as it is to the people who live upstairs and who had to experience that construction. I'm so proud to be here today and honored that I'm able to share this moment with Governor Cuomo and so many other of our distinguished guests. So long, a well-deserved improvement to the city of New York, something that was the thought of somebody's mind back in 1919, and a bond issue, original bond issue in 1929. It's now done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, and good afternoon. It is absolutely great to be here. I am so excited about the opening of this subway, and we thank you for getting behind it and making it happen in Governor Cuomo, but it took almost 100 years. We could have used you 100 years ago. But in any event, it's opened, and it is the best subway in the entire country. First and foremost, and it's already crowded. First and foremost, I want to thank Governor Cuomo for his strong support for the 2nd Avenue subway. I call him the infrastructure governor because infrastructure is in his DNA. I've never talked to him about an infrastructure project that he didn't want to accomplish. And it has been critical to the people of New York City to have in Albany such a strong ally to make things happen. And with the governor's continued support, we'll get the MTA moving full steam ahead on phase 2, going up to 125th Street, providing more coverage for New Yorkers in our great city. So today isn't just a chance to recognize the completion of something that is absolutely great. It is a celebration and a milestone. It's a milestone on the way to something that is even greater, and that is a full-build 2nd Avenue subway from 125th Street down to Wall Street, into Brooklyn, into Queens, into the Bronx. And we thank you, Governor Cuomo. He has already put into the budget $1.5 billion for the next phase of the 2nd Avenue subway. Bravo, bravo. We will not be waiting 100 years for the next phase of the 2nd Avenue subway. And this has been a dream for well over 100 years. In its massive scale and technological complexity, this is an achievement that is right up there with the construction of the pyramids. As a marvel of what humankind can build, only the pyramids don't have this beautiful artwork that you're going to see everywhere in this subway. I mean, magnificent, award-winning artwork, beautiful mosaics. We're going to have platforms with no columns. We're going to have all kinds of beautiful things to look at. And What can I say? It's so exciting. In just 9 days, on New Year's Day, New Yorkers will ride on the new edition on the world's greatest mass transit system, not in New York City, not in New York State, but in the entire country. And on day one, they project that over 200,000 New Yorkers will ride on the good old MTA Second Avenue subway. But that's nothing. Over 5.9 million New Yorkers ride on this subway every single day throughout our city. We are the most important, largest, most successful subway in the whole country. And this is a project that many people thought and said would never be built. I can tell you the one question that I have been asked the most in my life is, will it ever be built? Will it ever be completed? Well, we are completing it. And it was, I was told that it was politically impossible, it was too ambitious, too expensive, too technologically challenging, and too disruptive to such a densely populated area. Well, it wasn't impossible, but let me tell you, it was not easy. It's had 3 prior groundbreakings, 3. And every single time the money that was put in the budget was moved elsewhere. But even though the money was moved elsewhere, the need was still here, and the people continued to demand it. So when I first went to Congress, I said I wanted to build the Second Avenue subway. It was my top priority. I thank my staff for working on it every single day, because politics is at its best when it is making the impossible happen and getting people to listen to reason and persuading them to do what makes sense. Even if it isn't easy, even if it isn't quick, and even if it isn't cheap. So in the year 2000, I got the first federal funding, and I thank you, Charlie, for helping me, for the Second Avenue subway. It was $3 million for a study. And at that time, the governor and the mayor did not support. I couldn't even get a letter of support. I could have used you back then, Mr. Governor. We would have gotten a lot more money. The MTA was able to sign a full funding grant agreement in 2007, December. And this was very important because this was a guarantee and a promise from the federal government of $1.3 billion in federal funds, about a third of the project of $4.4 billion. But it didn't say when you would get the money. It was only that you would get the money. So every single year, it was a fight to get the money out of Washington and here into New York. And because of you, all of you that encouraged us to work every day, and the remarkable MTA, didn't they do an amazing job on the marvel? It is a marvel of modern engineering. The Federal Transit Administration told me repeatedly that the best work that they saw in transit in the entire country came from New York City's MTA on the Second Avenue subway under the great and brilliant leadership of Tom Prendergast, Dr. H., and so many others. I have never seen such enthusiasm from the construction workers, from the engineers, everyone working 24 hours a day to make this happen. And even before it opened, this was an economic boon to our city. It created over 16,000 good-paying union jobs, generated over $842 million in wages, and over $2.7 billion in economic activity. And on New Year's Day, when this subway opens for business, it will be the economic gift that keeps on giving to our great city. It will save commuters time, improve our quality of life. It will make it easier, not only to travel from 99th Street down to the tip of Manhattan, but also to travel east to west. It will reduce overcrowding on the most crowded subway in the entire nation. Believe me, there is a limit to how many people you can stuff into one subway car on the Lexington Avenue subway. And it is now, that the Lexington Avenue truly is the most overcrowded subway in the whole nation. And the New York Regional Plan Association has called this subway the region's top priority not New York City's top priority, but the region's top priority because of the economic benefits that it brings to our great city. And for those residents that will be able to commute and get around the city easier. And I thank all the businesses and residents who had to live with the noise, the dirt, the congestion, the traffic, the narrow sidewalks. The hard part is over, and we can now start enjoying the benefits. You're an amazing group of people who have together achieved an amazing feat. I am thrilled to be here. I look forward to taking the first ride on New Year's Eve, and we are celebrating the years of hard work and the ability of government to get things done for the people it serves. And it's easier to do it when you have a great governor pushing it and a great MTA chair leading it. Thank you all. It has been wonderful to be part of this process.
We did it. My name is Joe Pecora. I'm a business owner. I've been on the Upper East Side for the past 30 years, serving this great community. And we did it together. We did it with the leadership of Governor Cuomo, the vision of Ms. Carolyn Maloney, and the hard work of the MTA, and Dr. Rachel, of course. And I'm proud to be here, be part of this amazing accomplishment that we all did together. And we get to see the light at the end of the tunnel, making the Upper East Side a serious neighborhood, not a destination. So, what can I say? 10 years ago when it first started, it was hard. I saw fences all around me, and it was dirt, it was construction, it was like, I was like, what do I do now? So I did what my father taught me, just keep on working hard and just focus on what you're doing, not what's going on around you. And that's what got me through the process. A lot of business owners weren't as lucky as me, unfortunately, but that's, there's always consequences, I guess. And, but we did it together. We're great. There's a great city, great leadership from Governor Cuomo. Again, and the construction workers, the last 6 months, they've been working their tail off. It's unbelievable. And I can't wait to ride the train and be part of this great community and serve our community. Thank you, everybody. I'm cold.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, yeah, I knew that. What a great New York day. First to MTA chairman and the greatest team ever assembled for making this happen. Chairman Prendergast, God bless you. You're going to go down in history for this accomplishment, and you should. And the entire team of the MTA. Let's give them a round of applause for getting it done. To Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney and the Congressman Charlie Rangel, the federal government really stepped up to the plate, and without the federal funding, we're not standing here today or sitting here today. Carolyn Maloney, Charlie Rangel, thank you very much. To the men and women and organized labor who built this project and built it day in and day out. To the speaker and the city officials who are here, to the state legislators who are here, who provided a lot of funding, I want to thank them, the MTA board, and everyone involved. This is really a great moment, a great step forward for New York. And there's so many stories in this, and we're going to have a few days and a few events as we really get to experience the subway, but there is a lot here. This was, as the Congresswoman said, the idea started 100 years ago, that there should be a Second Avenue subway. And then it was fits and starts ever since. Along the way, there was a Second Avenue elevated line and a Third Avenue elevated line that they took down in the 40s
because they were going to build the subway on 2nd Avenue, except they forgot to build the subway on 2nd Avenue. So you took down the elevated lines, and now you had all that volume on the east side going to Lexington Avenue. And that's why the 4, 5, and the 6 are the most heavily traveled lines in the world because of the fact that the 2nd Avenue subway never materialized. What the tenants and the neighbors and the businesses endured for years, I can't tell you, only New Yorkers could have dealt with that and persevered, because it was many, many years of hardship. So Joe, God bless you, and let's give them all a round of applause for what they put up with. To the TWU that runs this system and makes it the best system in the United States of America, John Samuelson and his members, thank you for being here. This is, as you will see, a subway station and a subway system like none you've ever seen before. It has a different feel, it has a different architecture, it has a different design. As Tom said, that claustrophobic feeling is gone. These are large ceilings, domed areas. There's artwork that is spectacular. You don't have the columns everywhere that give you that sense of being closed in. Different track, so the trains will literally be quieter. It really is state of the art. So it's not only done, but it is really well done, and it's impressively done. And we're all proud to be part of it. One point about a statement that the MTA makes in opening this. There's much talk about the deadline, and the deadline is January 1, and we are committed to that deadline, and the train is going to run. If we have to push the train down the track, that train is going to run on January 1. But there was a lot of talk about, are we going to make the deadline? Now, the deadline was set back in 2009. And I really believe when they set the deadline, they basically just threw a dart at a calendar, and that became the deadline. Because 2009, how could you really project to January 2017? And then in the interim, the work schedule was slowed down because the residents and the neighbors didn't want the work happening at night. So they slowed down the work schedule. So the MTA would have been totally justified in saying, look, we have to extend the deadline because we made alterations and we reduced the amount of time. And that would have been right. But it was important, I think, and the MTA agreed, that we meet the deadline. Why? Because we wanted to make a statement. And that deadline is about a statement. And when the Congresswoman says, people have been asking her, is it ever going to happen? When the Congresswoman said, this is a dream that has finally come true. There were a lot of people who just didn't think we were going to get there. That this was one of those projects that was going to go on and on and on, and it was never going to end. And it became a question of whether or not we could do it. Could we actually make it happen? And that's a question that they ask not just about the 2nd Avenue subway, but too many people are asking about too many things in New York, in this country. Can we still do it? Do we have what it takes? Can we make it happen? And for too long, we've been making excuses. And for too long, you've heard government step up and say, well, let me tell you why we can't do it. Let me tell you why we're late. Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you about the complications. That's not New York at its best. That's not what made New York, New York. What made New York, New York was telling you how we're going to do what was never done before. That's what New York is all about. New York is about building the tallest building and then coming back and building a taller building. New York is about when they knock you on your rear end, coming back stronger than ever before and building a Freedom Tower bigger and better than ever before. New York governmental leaders never came to the microphone and said, let me tell you why we can't do it. Let me tell you about the problems. New York government was, let me tell you about the solutions. And let me tell you how we're going to do it faster and better than ever before. That's what New York is at its best. And that's what the new MTA is saying when they're saying we're going to get the Second Avenue subway built. It's going to be better than any subway system ever built before. And even though there have been all these delays, we're going to get it done on time. It's going to remind New Yorkers that this is the greatest state in the United States of America. We don't make excuses. We make the impossible happen. That's who we are. That's what we believe. That's what organized labor did. That's what the carpenters did. And that's what the TWU did. And we're going to run these trains on January 1. And we're going to remind New Yorkers that there is nothing that we cannot do in this state when we put our mind to it. And we're not going to take no for an answer. We're going to show you how dreams become a reality. Be here New Year's Eve, be here New Year's Day, and let's start the new year the right way. Thank you, and God bless you.
Could I have your attention, please? That concludes this portion of the program. We're going to have tours of the station. There's going to be a small group up first of the elected officials, and then some other groups that'll follow. You'll have plenty of time to take a look at the station. Thank you very much for coming today, and please do enjoy it. Thank you.